Discover how a black waitress's daily kindness revealed an inspiring secret with 4 bodyguards. Maya stood behind the counter of the bustling diner, the familiar smells of greasy bacon and fresh coffee curling in the air like a warm embrace. Each morning, she greeted the regulars with her trademark smile, a beacon of light that hid the weight of her responsibilities. Her heart whispered worries of her aging mother's health and her son's dream of college. With every cup she poured, she felt the precarious balance of her life, joy mixed with unceasing pressure, laughter tinged with exhaustion. Today, however, something felt off. When the bell jingled above the door, the usual chatter hushed into a tense silence. 4 imposing bodyguards strode in, like a thunderstorm on an otherwise sunny day. Their broad shoulders filled the doorway, dominating the diner's cozy atmosphere. Utensils clattered onto plates as patrons stole glances, confusion rippling through the room. Maya's gut tightened. This wasn't the kind of company a small-town diner attracted. It transformed her familiar environment into something unfamiliar. Before she could process it fully, a shout pierced the stillness. A distressed customer argued with one of the bodyguards, the tension crackling like static in the air. Her instincts kicked in, overriding her fear. With her heart thudding in her chest, Maya stepped forward, voice steady. "Hey now, let us all take a breath. What is going on?" The words felt foreign, yet necessary. The bodyguard turned. His eyes surprisingly kind searched hers. "Just business, ma'am," he replied, tension easing slightly under Maya's gaze. In that moment, she caught a glimpse of vulnerability beneath his guarded exterior. There was something familiar about him, stirring a connection that sent shivers down her spine. For a heartbeat, they shared a fragile understanding. But as the situation settled, an unsettling truth hovered around her. The bodyguards weren't mere security, they represented a world entwined with her past, one tied to her father's family, a powerful lineage long shrouded in secrecy and entitlement. Echoes of her father's disappointment collided with her present. Could this man, broad and intimidating yet innocently curious, unravel the life she had constructed? Before she could think straight, a message popped into her mind, urging her to seek closure, grasp the thread of her father's wealth that had severed so many of her relationships. But what if she stumbled into a realm where ambition crushed her spirit? What if acknowledging her past destroyed the hard-fought life built on resilience and love in this diner? Just then, she felt a familiar flutter of hope, a reminder that she had forged her identity from the ground up. Could reconnecting with her father amplify her sense of self, or would it damage her relationship with her son, her mother, and this community that needed her? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With a deep breath, Maya gathered herself, standing at the crossroads of destiny. Would she risk it all to step back into the light? Or would the shadows consume her? The weight of her past clawed at her, a reminder that the profound complexity of her identity was unraveling. As thoughts tangled in a chaotic spiral, a sense of déjà vu engulfed her. She was back to the girl aspiring for more beyond the diner's walls, a girl too scared to pound on a door she once knew. What awaited on the other side? It beckoned to her, leaving her heart racing, aching for answers she was not yet ready to face. The sight of the bodyguards, imposing and alert, forced Maya to center her thoughts. She reflected on the cacophony of emotions swirling within her: confusion, fear, and an ineffable intrigue. Could she really delve into a world she had consciously left behind? Each moment felt heavier than the last, pressing down on her with an urgency that demanded action. With her heart pounding, she returned to her duties behind the counter. As she poured coffee and polished glasses, her mind raced through the possibilities. Was it even safe to engage with this old chapter of her life? Yet, in a heartbeat, she was reminded of her son's aspirations. His future was imminent and bright. Could she bear to deny him any chance of understanding his roots entirely because of her reservations? Maya decided it was time to sift through her emotions and analyze what re-engaging with her father meant realistically. Perhaps this was not merely a chapter of fear, but an opportunity for growth. The diner customers resumed their chatter, but Maya felt as if she had stepped into a different realm altogether. She moved with purpose, each action masked with a newfound determination. "Hey, Maya!" A familiar voice called out, pulling her from her thoughts. It was Layla, one of the waitresses, offering a warm smile. "You okay? You seem a bit off today." "Just thinking," Maya replied, forcing a smile. Layla's brow furrowed. "You sure? You know I'm always here to listen." Maya nodded appreciatively. Layla had proven herself to be a sincere friend over the years. "It's about those men, isn't it?" Layla ventured, glancing over her shoulder toward the bodyguards now seated at a far booth, their demeanor all business. Maya hesitated, steeling herself. "It's a lot more complicated than that." The truth lay heavy on her tongue, yet she felt the urge to scale this emotional wall, rather than continue hiding behind it. "Do you think they'll cause trouble?" Layla asked, but Maya detected the subtle undertone of concern for her. She shook her head. "No, I think it's more about what they represent for me." The diner's atmosphere buzzed around them, yet Maya felt removed from the noise. This connection to her past was like an old friend, beckoning her to rediscover forgotten dreams. "Maya," Layla's gentle voice broke through her whirlwind of thoughts, "you've always been a fighter." "Fighter," she echoed, contemplating the term. Perhaps she had fought for her own space and independence, but did she have the strength to fight for others, notably her son, who deserved to know the whole context of his heritage? A realization settled within her. It was not merely about confronting her father's legacy or remnants of a life she had crafted. It was about expanding her definition of strength and realizing that the shared human experience could guide her decisions. Her mind was set aflame with possibilities. So, what if she scheduled a meeting with her father not for a confrontation, but for understanding? The idea buzzed through her thoughts like the coffee machine in the corner, continuously brewing. Taking another order from our table, she glanced over at the booth occupied by the bodyguards. The kindness she often extended in her work blossomed into a resolve that was steely but unyielding, reflecting the strength she cultivated through her adversity. "Who knows what answers await?" she murmured to herself, the words solidifying her intention. She tilted her head, ready to embrace whatever this journey might unfold. The bell above the diner door jingled again. A new customer filed in, catching her attention, but it was the fleeting glance from the kind-eyed bodyguard that sent a rush of energy through her being. There was something about him, an unspoken promise that today could mark the endpoint of a long-standing question. The moment suspended in the air, pregnant with potential. Would she pursue the whispers of her past, letting the warmth of understanding fill the cold gaps of her history? Could this interaction lead her to revive the connection lost with her father while preserving the life she had painstakingly built in its absence? Maya felt poised to uncover a truth that could alter her trajectory. She had to be ready as well as willing to embrace it. The stakes felt impossibly high, yet her desire for understanding ignited a simmering courage within. As she noticed the bodyguard leaning slightly, curiosity sparkling in his eyes, Maya recognized that her next step loomed large. Would she take it? There remained an uncharted path ahead, a leap beyond uncertainty, and it beckoned with a new intensity that drove her forward. The moment hung suspended. If she were to confront her past, it would be here beyond the confines of the diner and into a revelation pulsating with possibilities just out of reach. With a deep breath, she realized the time had come for action. Would she seize the opportunity to understand and ultimately transform this weight on her soul? As she wiped down the counter, Maya's heart raced beneath her steady exterior. The world around her blurred, and the clatter of dishes faded into a distant echo. It was not merely about surviving the day, this was deeper, more urgent. The unyielding stares of the bodyguards remained lodged in her mind like splinters, a reminder that her past was not so easily forgotten. Maya caught Layla's concerned gaze, and the waitress raised an eyebrow, recognizing the internal battle raging within her friend. Just one conversation, Maya muttered to herself. It wasn't enough to shake off the unease but was enough to ignite a flicker of resolve. Today might just be the day she faced the fragments of her history, and in doing so, embraced her own strength anew. By the time she finished her shift, the sun had dipped low, casting long shadows across the diner, which dimmed the hustle and bustle of its daily routines. She had promised herself an hour of contemplation before making any rash decisions. But the bodyguard with the kind eyes refused to vacate her mind. It felt as if she were tethered to him somehow, the quiet pull toward a connection yet undefined. Maya took a deep breath, stowing away her emotional turmoil lest it seep into her professionalism. Instead, she focused on her son. The image of him embracing life with open arms infused her with courage. She envisioned the conversations they would have, navigating his heritage emboldened by clarity she sought for herself. As she exited the diner, the night air was filled with a tension that mirrored her own. The streetlights flickered above like silent witnesses to her next move. Would she truly seek out the man whose existence threatened to unravel the life she had meticulously woven? Her thoughts raced back to the whispers, the vague stories passed down, remnants of a life she had turned her back on. Finding strength in her uncertainty, Maya started walking purposefully toward the edge of town, a familiar route that led to the shadowy confines of her past. She debated her approach. A casual introduction felt disingenuous, yet any aggression could shatter the fragile calm she wished to cultivate. Approaching the roadside bar where she knew her father often lingered, doubt flickered within her. What if he didn't want to see her? What would she even say? She paused, weighing the tremors of fear dancing in her stomach against the rising urgency to unveil the truth behind her legacy. The very thought of being judged of her choices as a daughter, a mother gripped her. But the louder voice within urged her onwards. As she entered, the familiar atmosphere enveloped her, and the laughter, the clinking of glasses, wove a tapestry of memories that tugged at her heart. But the warmth quickly dissipated as her gaze locked onto the far corner, where an imposing figure leaned casually, his broad shoulders marked by an air of authority. The bodyguard from the diner was there, his presence a blend of familiarity and intimidation. She hesitated at the door, struck by the collision of old fears and new aspirations. Could she approach him? Would he remember her? In the midst of her inner conflict, he glanced up and their eyes met. For a fleeting moment, the din of the bar faded into nothingness, driving home her realization. The connection she sensed wasn't accidental. Perhaps he was the key she needed, an ally against the remnants of her fears. Gathering her courage, Maya stepped across the threshold, a wave of emotion surging within her. This was about reclaiming her narrative, about understanding herself, and ultimately, about building a bridge for her son to traverse between their worlds. Just as she approached, ready to engage, she caught a glimpse of another figure at the bar, cloaked in an aura of authority. Her heart sank. This was not just about her, she had triggered something larger than herself. The stakes had been raised. The man turned towards her and nodded, recognition dawning in his eyes. He was no stranger. All thoughts of a simple meeting dissolved, replaced by a strong sense of urgency. What revelations would this bring forth? Maya felt a chill skim her spine. She was aware that her decision to seek understanding might unravel more than just her own history, it might challenge the very foundation of her life, decisions she made to shield herself and her son. The defining moment had arrived. Would she confront the truths waiting for her in both the kind-eyed protector and the grim figure forces that could shape her future in ways she had never anticipated? The moment hung heavy with unanswered questions, and she wondered if she would welcome the answers when they arrived. Maya stood at the threshold of the bar, words hovering on the brink of her consciousness, struggling to break free. The bodyguard was still watching her, a flicker of curiosity igniting in his eyes. She sensed his awareness of her internal struggle, as though he, too, understood the weight of her next decision. Her heart thundered as she took a tentative step forward, the sound of laughter turning into a distant hum. This was unfamiliar terrain, a place where history intertwined with the present. What was it that she really sought? Resolution, confrontation, understanding? Each option carried its own set of consequences, not just for her, but for her son. May I? The bodyguard's low voice shattered her reverie. He gestured to the empty seat across from him, an invitation to share space and secrets. Maya hesitated, searching his face for indications of judgment. Instead, she found an earnestness that beckoned her to let down her guard, even if only for the moment. She sat cautiously, wondering how to breach the silence that lay between them. "Do you want to talk about why you're here?" His voice was steady, devoid of pretense. For a moment, she considered diverting her path, retreating into safer waters. But fledgling determination surged within her, nudging her to confront not only him but the narrative that had shaped her existence. "I need answers," she finally admitted, her voice steadying with each word. "About my family. About the past I've tried to bury." His gaze shifted slightly, and she could see the flicker of acknowledgement. He understood the magnitude of her quest. "I can help you with that." There it was. A lifeline thrown into a stormy sea, but the looming figure at the bar was an unyielding shadow, a reminder that help could easily come with strings attached. "What is your stake in this?" Maya pressed, concerned that alliances were paper-thin, upheld only by circumstance. "My loyalty is to your father," he replied after a pause, considering his words carefully. "But I also believe in your right to know your story." The sincerity in his tone left her momentarily off balance, as uncertainty warred with hope. Just then, the figure she had spotted earlier rose purposefully from his seat, sauntering toward their table. He moved with an intent that both unsettled and intrigued her. The atmosphere crackled, thickening around them. It felt as if the walls themselves were holding their breath, braced for the impending confrontation. "Maya," he said, his voice an echo of authority that cut through the din of the bar. What an unexpected surprise. The recognition in his eyes sent a chill down her spine. He was no mere stranger, he was a segment of the history she'd attempted to retreat from. Had he come to intimidate or to enlighten? The uncertainty pressed down on her, merging with her earlier trepidations. "Who are you?" she asked, the question tumbling from her lips, fierce and unyielding. "I'm your past," he replied simply, the weight of his words colliding violently with her present. Her mind raced as she fought the sensation of panic rising within her. Was she prepared to confront the echoes of what she had been running from? This encounter held the potential to unravel everything she had carefully built to protect her son. The bodyguard's presence felt reassuring, yet the air foamed with the unpredictability of unresolved tensions. Maya focused on steadying her breath, the weight of her dilemma pressing against her heart. The time to map her course was fleeting, and she was aware that the threshold into the unknown loomed just beyond this moment. What would she discover next? When the dust settled between past and present, would she emerge with newfound clarity, or would she be swept back into the shadows she had fought so hard to escape? The curtain was drawn back, revealing a world she was not sure she was ready to face. The journey was just beginning. Maya stood at the precipice of her own history, grappling with the familiar voice of the man who claimed to be her past. A whirlwind of emotions coursed through her: fear, anger, curiosity, and she clamped down on her rising panic, refusing to allow it to dictate her actions. The bodyguard at the table offered a silent nod of encouragement, emboldening her fragile resolve. "Your past," she echoed, her voice trembling slightly despite her effort to sound assertive. "Why now? After all this time?" He leaned in, his expression unreadable but marked by a strange intensity. "Because you can't escape it forever, Maya. It has a way of finding you." The implications of his words hung in the air, heavy and unsettling. But was it fear of confrontation that held her back, or fear of the truth? Each possibility began to sway her thoughts, and she realized that this moment was more than just a reunion with someone from her past. It was a revelation that would force her to confront the foundational stories she had clung to. "What do you know about my family?" She felt a pang of desperation as she posed the question. Just as her father had taught her, clarity often emerged from direct inquiry. He paused, as if weighing the gravity of his response. "I know what they did to protect you and the secrets they kept. But there are pieces missing, parts of the narrative that you need to uncover for yourself." Maya's heart raced. Each word from him felt like a puzzle, tantalizingly close yet defiantly incomplete. "Why should I trust you?" she asked. Her instincts warned her to tread carefully, the remnants of betrayal still clung to her skin. "Because," he said gently, "whether you choose to accept it or not, I'm a part of the history you're trying to escape. I can help you make sense of it if you're willing." His insistence clawed at her reservations. Deep down, she recognized that avoidance had only festered doubt. She had spent years pouring herself into a life predicated on untangling the past while guarding her son against it. Yet the prospect of finally discovering what lay dormant was intoxicating. Could this experience allow her to build a future informed by understanding rather than fear? She took a deep breath, knowing that it was now or never. "What do I need to do?" The words slipped out, firm and unyielding, betraying a sense of newfound determination underpinned by vulnerability. "We begin with your father. He has waited for you to return into the fold." He paused, studying her. "You can either confront him directly, or I can facilitate an introduction my way, more circumspect, more guarded." Maya felt the weight of that decision. The familiar urge to retreat flared within her once more, battling against the emerging strength of her convictions. She could feel the contours of her future stretching out before her, a landscape dotted with opportunities for growth and understanding, however painful. "Let us do it on my terms," she stated, her voice resolute. "Very well. Let us get to work," he responded, a glimmer of respect entering his eyes. As they cleared the table, discussing the best plan of approach, the air crackled with tension, a fusion of dread and excitement enveloping her. Maya could feel the shift within herself, that intangible transformation moving from within her core outward. She was no longer merely a passive participant in her life, but an active player steering her journey away from lingering shadows. But just as a flicker of clarity illuminated her path, the bar's door swung open once more. A figure emerged, and Maya's heart dropped. This was not anyone she anticipated. Someone from the past she had hoped to evade had arrived, and with them came the whirlwind of choices she had yet to navigate. Could this encounter derail her newfound purpose, or would it propel her deeper into the uncharted territory she sensed awaited her? As she met the newcomer's gaze, determination surged, and the fog of uncertainty thickened. A reckoning was imminent, and she wondered, what other truths lay just beneath the surface, waiting to challenge her resolve. Maya knew that the time had come to face the hidden complexities of her life, and she had no choice but to forge ahead. Maya felt a jolt of recognition mixed with fright as the figure stepped forward, partially obscured in the dim light of the bar. Every muscle in her body tightened, and her mind raced with the painful memories of a time she thought she had left behind. Standing before her was Samantha, the very person who had orchestrated that painful chapter of Maya's life. "Maya," Samantha said softly, her voice a contrasting calm against the storm raging within Maya. "I didn't expect to run into you here." Maya's heart pounded. The nervous energy in the room thickened, her bodyguard shifted slightly, alert for signs of trouble. But this was not the time for fear to rule her actions. She had made a decision, and retreating now would undo every ounce of courage she'd mustered. "What do you want, Samantha?" Maya forced the words out, her tone a calculated mix of defiance and curiosity. It felt good to confront her past head-on, like a weight being lifted, even as new burdens settled in. Samantha took a step closer, lowering her voice. "I just want to talk. There are things you need to know, things that can help you understand what has been happening." Maya felt a flicker of curiosity amidst her apprehension. Did this woman truly have valuable insights, or was she merely here to manipulate her emotions further? Help me understand what? Why you hurt my family? Why you destroyed what was supposed to be my life? I was a part of a larger picture, and you need to be aware of that, Samantha argued, her eyes earnest. Your father is not who you think he is, and your mother, well, she had her reasons. Maya felt her world tilt. The pieces of her life, carefully set aside, began to clang together like dissonant notes. Her family had always positioned themselves as protectors, yet doubts now gnawed at her. Had she ever truly known them? I've spent years piecing my own life together, and I finally have a chance to reclaim what is mine. I want to let you undermine that. Maya replied, her voice rising with a mix of anger and something else, fear of what it might mean to uncover more layers of her past. But Samantha remained composed, her demeanor suggestive of a deep understanding. What if I told you that confrontation could lead to clarity? That knowing the truth about your family could be a pathway to freedom rather than a dead end? This was precisely what Maya had been grappling with, the fear that probing into her family's secrets would unravel her life entirely, yet the promise of understanding and healing snaked through her resolve. Go on, she challenged, her curiosity battling against the instinct to guard her heart. Your father's decisions were made from love, Samantha continued. Though they seemed damaging, he made sacrifices to shield you. Understanding that could help you find your footing. Maya's emotions turned over, and she felt their tumultuous rolling tide within. Could compassion stem from the very pain she had suffered? The air thickened with the weight of what was to come. She could feel the edges of her resolve softening as she studied the woman who once embodied her torment. Could Samantha truly guide her toward the truth without turning it into further betrayal? Just then, the bodyguard cleared his throat, reminding her of the present, yet Maya felt a fundamental shift within her. She was no longer just defending against the past, the idea of exploration beckoned her forward. Okay. I'll listen, she said, lowering her guard slowly. But if I feel manipulated again? Her words were punctuated with a fierce punch, a blend of authority and vulnerability. She was done with avoidance, it was time to navigate complexities head-on. As Maya braced herself for whatever revelation Samantha might reveal next, the room buzzed with unresolved tension. Was this the moment she would finally peel back the layers suffocating her spirit? Or would confronting the past lead her deeper into chaos? As Samantha opened her mouth to speak, the bar's atmosphere shifted once more. A murmur from the back, a glance exchanged. With a flicker of concern, Maya turned to see her father standing at the entrance, an expression of shock frozen on his face. The stage was set for a truth that could either rebuild or shatter everything she thought she understood. Would confronting her father ignite a confrontation, or unravel the understanding Samantha had promised? The winds of change swirled, difficult choices lingering in the air. Maya's heart raced as her father stood in the doorway, the air around them charged with unspoken tension. She had imagined this moment countless times, painting it with vivid strokes of anxiety and purpose. But the reality of facing him now felt surreal, almost disorienting. You shouldn't be here, Maya, her father said, his voice low but taut, as though he were struggling to contain years of pent-up emotions. Maya's pulse quickened. And yet, here we are. Maybe it's time we finally talked. She felt empowered saying those words, as if each syllable were a step taken towards reclaiming the fragments of her lost narrative. Samantha, who was momentarily forgotten in the flurry of emotions, smirked knowingly, standing as a bittersweet reminder of how tangled their lives had become. The space felt impossibly small, filled with echoes of a tumultuous past. The bodyguards hovered close, an unspoken directive from her father driving Maya to keep her composure. I'm not a child anymore. You can't control me, she stated, forcing herself to lock eyes with him, to show him she wouldn't back down. Maya, please, he pleaded, but there was a tremor in his voice that betrayed a deeper fear. You don't know what you're asking for. Some truths are better left buried. Those words struck her like a thunderbolt, igniting a fight within her. How could he still want to shield her? Each facade he had lovingly crafted for her now felt suffocating, a shroud covering the truth she desperately wanted to unravel. "Maya is right," Samantha interjected, breaking the fragile dynamic. "Knowing the truth can be excruciating, but living in ignorance is suffocating. You owe it to her." At those words, an unsettling silence fell. Maya's father visibly recoiled as if struck, but something in his resolute stance faltered. "Do you want to relive the pain for the sake of understanding? The choice isn't as simple as you think," he finally said, words laden with gravity. Maya felt a knot in her throat. "You mean to say that remaining blindfolded is easier than confronting the things that hurt us?" She felt powerful, articulating her frustrations so clearly. "No, I mean some truths could shatter the very foundation of your existence," he countered, a hint of desperation creeping in. "Are you willing to risk everything for a truth that may ultimately destroy you?" The question hung in the air, suffocating in its implications. Maya knew the answer even before she spoke it. "I've spent far too long running from the truth to be afraid now. I choose to face it instead of letting it control me." Each word resonated with a fierce ferocity, illuminating a path forward, albeit fraught with peril. Each heartbeat felt like a countdown, a ticking clock urging her to unravel whatever secrets lay all twisted and bound in her family's history. "Very well," her father conceded, the stormy expression on his face softening into one of reluctant acceptance. "If you're determined to pursue this, I'll share what I can." Maya braced herself. What did she truly know about the man standing before her? Beneath the protective facade, was there strength or weakness? As Samantha stepped back to give space, the air thickened with expectation. This was not merely about understanding her family, it was about reclaiming her identity, a blend of shadows she had yet to confront fully. "What do you want to know?" her father asked, resignation in his tone, but there was a flicker of vulnerability in his eyes. Maya took a deep breath, the weight of her decision suddenly tangible. Here was the moment of truth. Would the knowledge he imparted fortify her resolve or shatter it altogether? "Start with the choices you made for me," she said, needing to explore not just the origins of pain but also the motivations behind her father's seemingly protective actions. "What are the secrets you've kept?" The shadows closed in, each question a potential spark to ignite a wildfire of revelations, each answer a doorway to understanding or more chaos. Whatever lay ahead promised to be a transformation, whether healing or destruction, only the truth could unravel the tight knots of her existence. And with every question she prepared to ask, she knew she had crossed a threshold from which there would be no return. As the darkness of uncertainty hung above her, she felt an invigorating determination rise within. What awaited her on the other side of this confrontation? But as she readied herself to hear his response, something outside caught her eye, a figure glaring through the bar window, an unfamiliar face that sent chills down her spine. Who was this newcomer, and what further secrets were poised to be unearthed? Maya's gaze darted to the window, instinctively locking onto the figure that loomed just outside. The face was unfamiliar, yet an unsettling familiarity tugged at her memory. The presence felt invasive, as if it threatened the fragile balance she had just fought to establish with her father. "Who is that?" Maya asked, turning her attention back to her father, an urgency creeping into her voice. He looked away, a shadow passing over his face, revealing deeper layers of concern. "It's not someone you should worry about, Maya." His attempt to brush off her question only intensified her apprehension. "But you're worried," she noted, the realization sinking in. "What do you know that you're not telling me?" The tension in the room thickened, a weighted silence punctuated only by heartbeat thuds that began to echo in her ears. Each second slipped through her fingers like sand, and she felt a surge of anxiety mixed with determination. If she were to break through the wall her father was guarding, she had to gain his trust, unearth the layers of his reticence. "Let us focus on why I'm here," Maya pressed, her voice steady despite the turmoil in her mind. "What choices did you make that shaped my life? What were you protecting me from?" He hesitated, eyes flickering with uncertainty before meeting hers. "It's not that simple. Some choices were made out of love, others out of fear. Fear of what?" She interjected, impatience rising. Protection from the truth is a lie in itself. I deserve to know whatever it is. As she spoke those words, an internal shift occurred. This confrontation was no longer simply an exercise in unearthing family secrets, it was an act of defiance against a lifetime of being sheltered. Was she ready for what lay beneath her father's surface? Could she endure the reality of her family's past, regardless of how sinister it might be? He took a deep breath, collecting himself. What I shielded you from is more than just family drama. It's tied to a legacy. That his voice faltered, as if deliberating whether to continue. Just say it, Maya demanded softly, but fiercely. He locked eyes with her, the weight of the world seemingly pressing down on him. There are truths about our family that could put you in jeopardy. Some of those choices will change how you see everything, even yourself. Maya's pulse raced. She was no longer just chasing the threads of her identity, she encroached upon deeper entanglements that tangled her life with the fragility of trust. Then tell me the worst of it. I can handle it, she challenged, her voice steady, urging him to break the silence. All right, he relented, his defenses lowering as the flicker of vulnerability widened. But you must understand, once you learn these things, there's no unlearning them. Are you prepared for that? The vulnerability in her father's acknowledgement fueled her resolve. She could feel the primal urge to run, to retreat from the sprawling chaos they were about to unveil, but she held her ground. Yes. I will face it. His gaze softened slightly, like a bridge being built across a chasm of fear. Your mother at that moment, before he could formulate whatever revelation lay about the woman who had been a ghost in her life, the figure outside intensified its stare, drawing her attention once more. The face was stark, framed against the fading light, a stranger watching with intent. Maya, listen to me. It's crucial that you stay away from. Before her father could finish, the figure stepped back, melding into the shadows, but a sense of urgency ignited within Maya. Something about this presence resonated with the truths she was desperately trying to chase down. Whatever secrets her father harbored now felt entwined with this newcomer's emergence. What was that? She asked, dread mingling with curiosity. Who are they, and why were they watching us? Her father's expression hardened anew. The past is not done with us yet. Maya's heart plunged farther into uncertainty. She was standing on the brink of revelations she was ready to embrace, even if they threatened her sense of self. Yet now, new shadows loomed. Who was this figure, and how were they tied to the painful history she wished to unravel? As she prepared to press him for more, she realized that she was no longer just looking for answers about her family. The web was expanding, and with it, the stakes had never been higher. What lay at the center of this conflict, and how would it reshape everything she thought she knew? Maya's stomach churned as she absorbed her father's ominous warning. The weight of his words hung between them, anchoring her in place like a ship caught in a turbulent sea. What do you mean by the past is not done with us? The question slipped from her lips, punctuated by urgency as she became hyper-aware of the shadows that danced along the walls, a reminder that they were not alone in this moment. Her father shifted, visibly struggling beneath the pressure. The vulnerability she had seen moments ago seemed to retreat, buried under layers of years of denial and protective instincts. Maya sensed that every second wasted was inflicting further damage on the fragile connection they were attempting to forge. I need you to be honest, she pressed. You owe me that much. He inhaled sharply. There are people who have been watching. They are tied to our past in ways you cannot imagine. His voice trembled slightly, unveiling the cracks beneath his stoic demeanor. It unsettled her, reminding Maya that her pursuit for truth could lead to destabilizing aspects far beyond family secrets. Who are they? Her heart beat harder, adrenaline igniting her senses. What she desired was standing right before her, a chance to dive into her past, to understand her family's legacy and to reclaim her identity as her own. Name doesn't matter as much as what they represent. They carry burdens of their own, burdens we are linked to through choices I made to protect you from. He hesitated, the words nearly spilling from his lips but halted by some invisible force. Maya's irritation flared. Protect me from what? You can't just throw vague warnings at me. I deserve to understand, to prepare. If there are threats, I can't stand idly by while you try to shield me like a child. The moment hung like a fragile thread ready to snap, and she could see the conflict raging inside him. Her own urgency transformed into a steely resolve, fueling her understanding that empowerment lay in unraveling this conflict together, rather than succumbing to fear. I'm not a child anymore. You need to trust me, she urged with a fierceness that surprised even herself. Finally, he nodded, the weight of his acknowledgement almost palpable. There are factions connected to our family history. Choices were made that put us in jeopardy. You may not fully comprehend the consequences yet, but you will. The chilling implications pierced through her. Was her past littered with shadows that threatened her very existence? The statement rocked her confidence, yet within the tremors of doubt emerged a flicker of strength. I want to learn. I want to confront it. If I'm going to navigate this, I need clarity. The sincerity of her voice bridged the emotional distance that had just felt insurmountable. He took a breath, visibly collecting himself. You are far more capable than I ever gave you credit for, Maya. I see that now. The admiration in his tone ignited a surprising warmth within her, yet it was laced with a newfound gravity. What about the figure outside? Who were they? She pressed again, her instincts firing with each passing moment. What if the key to her family's hidden past lay in this mysterious individual? As the tension shifted, she felt a provocative urge to dig deeper, to unfold each layer of reality she had been excluded from. I can't answer that without putting you at risk. Her father's voice wavered, a hint of desperation breaking through. Then help me take that risk, she challenged. We need to expose what has been hidden. I'm done being afraid of the truths you've guarded. Maya's resolution crystallized within her. If she was to reclaim her own narrative, she needed to step forward not just to uncover her family's secrets, but to confront whatever danger lurked behind the stranger's gaze. In that moment, she felt a shifting tide within herself. The foundations of her identity were no longer shaped solely by her father's silence but by her willingness to confront the shadows, demanding clarity where there was once only obscurity. Maya, her father began, a resolve forming beneath his uncertainty. You have no idea what you're asking for. The moment we step out of this room, everything changes. His words resonated with a truth that sent a shiver of anticipation down her spine. They were teetering on the edge of revelation, standing at the juncture of her past and their precarious future. Her heart raced, fueled by a determination she had never tapped into before. Then let us change it. As they exchanged a loaded glance, the world beyond the walls seemed to pulse with possibility and threat alike. She would not retreat anymore. The door would soon open, and with it, an entire world of conflict and discovery awaited them. Would they be ready for what came next? Would she have the strength to confront her legacy and whatever lay in the shadows watching them? Maya stood resolutely, her father's uncertainty ringing through her mind as she prepared to confront her past. The jagged pieces of her family's history floated before her like dark clouds, but now she felt the momentum to bring the storm to light. Whatever the secrets are, I'm ready. Her voice was a quiet but affirming declaration, a testament to her personal growth over the course of her struggle. You think you are, her father said, empathy mingling with concern. But the truth is heavy. It may alter everything you think you know about yourself. I'm not afraid of truth anymore, Maya replied, her tone steady, fortified by the resilience she had built through the years working in the diner, loving her son, and surviving the complexities of life alone. The insights gained from those experiences lent her the confidence that she needed in this moment. With a heavy heart, her father began to reveal the tumultuous past. When you were born, your mother felt the weight of our family's history pressing down on her. There are legacies tied to power and privilege that require sacrifices made to keep you safe from a world that often seeks to control. Maya listened intently, letting his words wash over her like waves, as she recognized the value of this moment for not just her, but her son as well. Each revelation pried open the door to more understanding, and as she pieced their history together, she envisioned how she could forge a different narrative for her family. "What about the figure outside?" she asked, squaring her shoulders as she prepared to push further. "What risk do they represent?" Her father flinched at the mention of the stranger. "They connected to a past I had hoped to bury. They represent an alliance that would rather undermine our family than see us succeed." The urgency of the situation quickened Maya's heartbeat, compelling her to take swift action. "Then we can't let that past dictate our future. I need to embrace all parts of myself, and that includes confronting this figure." Her father's gaze intensified. "You don't understand the danger involved." "I was born into danger," Maya interrupted, her resolve bubbling to the surface. "My life has always danced around secrets and shadows, but I refuse to remain paralyzed by them. The only way to move forward is to step into the light of understanding." The tension in the bar morphed into an air thick with the complexity of familial bonds, ancestral conflicts, and secrets looming like a specter. It pivoted. They had crossed the threshold of uncertainty, poised on the precipice of a new journey as they committed themselves to dismantling the shadows. If her father had been the protector all this time, Maya was ready to now be the warrior, someone who sought forged connections that could revive or reconstruct, caretaker of her son's future. Resolutely, she nodded, the determination clear in her eyes. "Let us confront this together. I need to know the full truth of our past and be prepared to claim the legacy I choose for the future." Moments later, they stepped from the cozy bar into the chill of the night. The streetlight flickered above, illuminating the path before them, a blink of clarity in a web of shadows. Exactly what awaited them was unclear, but she felt a growing sense of solidarity with her father, an unexpected ally against the remnants of a dubious family history. As they turned the corner, the figure that hovered near the edge of the bar became visible, an intense presence, radiant with solemnity. Maya felt her heart leap as they locked eyes. A connection sparked, fueled by the understanding that had built up in her, a bridge between her created identity and the truth waiting just beyond her reach. With her father next to her, she strode forward, each step laden with purpose. Together, they could redefine the narrative rather than be defined by it. "Maya," her father whispered, pride mixing with fear as he moved beside her. "This is your journey now, and whatever lies ahead, know that I am here for you." At that moment, Maya reveled in a fierce sense of autonomy she had never truly felt. This was not merely about her past or present. It was about claiming her future, rewriting the script overlooked by time and circumstance. "Thank you." She drew in a steadying breath, the magnitude of this next engagement settling in. The atmosphere beyond them bubbled with potential. As they approached the enigmatic figure, Maya felt the world narrowing to just this moment and the clarity she sought. The shadows that shrouded her identity began to dissolve, revealing the luminous determination that had blossomed within her. She was ready to conquer her past and in doing so, define herself in a way she always deserved but had previously withheld. Emerging from the darkness of familial expectations, she was resolute. The search for her truth could begin. And so, she pushed past the darkness into the light, a vital confrontation at hand, moments away from answering unknown questions. Maya felt empowered at last, finally embracing the legacy she would choose to own without fear, boldly prefaced with clarity and confidence. Now, it was time to fully engage and reshape her destiny. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment their reactions and theories about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support, and don't wait even one more second to share. Only true fans of personal overcoming stories understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.